Hi, I'm Dr. Donald Crowe. I practiced emergency medicine for over 40 years, and I've been sober for the last 27. That's over 10,000 days without a drink. But I'll tell you something straight. If I had to spend those years grinding it out one day at a time, I would have burned out years ago. Most people have heard that phrase, one day at a time, especially if they've ever been around AA. It's almost a slogan. But slogans can be misunderstood, and I misunderstood this one big time. When I first got sober, I thought the phrase meant just that, white-knuckling through 24 hours at a time. No alcohol, no matter how I felt, no matter what was going on. Just don't drink today, I'd tell myself. And tomorrow? We'll deal with that tomorrow. And look, in early sobriety, that mindset can be a lifesaver, because sometimes that's all you can do. You hold on, you survive. And at night, you lay your head down knowing you made it. You didn't drink. And that feels good. For a while. But here's the part they don't tell you. Eventually, that novelty wears off. The chaos settles down, the emergency is over. And suddenly you're left with just life. And that one day at a time grind, it becomes exhausting. Fortunately, I learned something vital. Sobriety is not the finish line. It's the starting line. Sobriety is the doorway, not the destination. The destination? That's a fulfilling life, a meaningful one, a peaceful one. But getting there requires something more than just gritting your teeth and counting days. Now let me be clear, I'm not knocking AA. It saved my life even if I didn't buy all of its message. It gave me structure and community and clarity. Because at some point I had to face a truth I couldn't dodge anymore. I had a medical condition. Call it alcoholism, chemical dependency, or the newer term, alcohol use disorder. I actually prefer a term of my own making, chemically mediated disinhibition syndrome. But regardless of the name, that condition made it impossible for me to drink and have a good life. They were mutually exclusive. And once I accepted that truth, not just intellectually, but in my gut, everything changed. It wasn't about depriving myself anymore. It was about freeing myself from something that was quietly killing. But here's where it got interesting. When the alcohol was gone, I didn't magically become a different man. I still had the same thought pattern, the same fears, the same illusion that if I just tried harder, I could control life. I thought I could outthink pain, outmaneuver grief, outplan discomfort. And you know what? I'd done a pretty decent job of it, at least on the outside. I had degrees, a respected career, money in the bank, and people who looked up to me. But inside, I was running scared. I was trying to manage the unmanageable, trying to control people's opinions, outcomes, the passage of time. And it was making me sick. See, we alcoholics often suffer from a delusion that we can control things that are far beyond our reach. And alcohol helped reinforce that fantasy. That's what made one day at a time so appealing to me at first. It was simple, it was manageable, and it gave me the illusion of control. But what I learned slowly, painfully, and over time was that real peace only came when I let go, when I stopped trying to manage the show. When I allowed life to unfold without micromanaging every detail. That's when things started to change. And ironically, that's when the one day at a time idea took on a whole new meaning for me. I began to understand that it wasn't about restriction. It was about presence. It wasn't about bracing myself against the next 24 hours. It was about learning to live within them. And to do that, I had to change my thinking. Not just to avoid alcohol, but examine the patterns that made alcohol seem like a solution. Why did I feel so unsafe in the world? Why did I need to control everything? Why was I terrified to the idea of simply surrendering and accepting what was happening? I started to see the roots of it. Old wounds, unrealistic expectation, perfectionism disguised as drive. And with the fog of alcohol gone, I had enough clarity to begin recovery. I started making different choices. Not just about drinking, but about how I thought, how I spoke, how I treated people, how I treated myself. And that's when sobriety stopped being something I had to endure and started becoming something that I got to enjoy. I now live in a way that doesn't require escape. And when life gets messy, as it always does, I remind myself, there's only one thing that I can actually control: me. Not the economy, not politics, not other people's behavior, not the weather, not the past, just me. My actions, my reactions, my willingness to grow. And in that space, there is incredible freedom. And yes, we all live one day at a time, sober or drunk, young or old, rich or poor. But when one day at a time becomes a survival tactic instead of a mindset of presence and acceptance, you're missing the gift. Today, I don't wake up and think, oh no, another day to survive. I wake up and think, today is a chance to experience the adventure, sober, whole, present, and peaceful. And if that's all I do today, that's enough. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. Donald Crowe, and if this message interested you, please subscribe to Second Act Sobriety. Let's grow this community and help others. Because giving up alcohol doesn't mean giving up anything real. It means getting a chance to get the life you deserve. I'll see you in the next one.